For example, again, now let us look at the secondary sources. Um, in this video presentation, I'll be talking on what are the potential secondary sources that we can collect data from, and what are the problems that are associated with secondary sources. Um, we just saw what is primary source and what are the ways to collect the data from primary sources. Secondary sources are, uh, or you can say secondary data, refers to those data that is collected by someone else other than the user or other than the researcher itself. And the common sources of secondary data for research or specifically for social science includes census information collected by governmental organizations, other organizational records, and data that was originally collected for other research purposes, and that which we can use for our research. So that's overview of secondary source. In both qualitative as well as in quantitative research, secondary source can also be used as a method of data collection. And when we are looking at qualitative research, uh, using secondary source, if we are extracting data like descriptive data or narrative data, descriptive data can be in historical form, or it can also be those description based on the current scenario and situation. So extracting basically descriptive and narrative forms of data from the secondary source are or is the domain of qualitative research. But if you are extracting categorical or numerical data from the secondary source, then that falls under the domain of quantitative research. Um, so that's how you extract data, and depending on the extraction of data and the nature of data that's being extracted from the secondary source, entails what the research approach is. The major kind of sources for secondary data are classified under this four different groups. First one is the data that's being available in government, semi-government, or non-governmental publications. Um, Census records of Bhutan provides updated census information about the country. So if you need any information about the census, National Census Record will provide the data. They have already published for their use as well as the use for other people. If you need weather and climate data, National Center for Hydrology and Meteorology provides an updated and regularly monitored and collected data, which you can also use. So such kind of governmental data are same governmental or non-governmental organizations data are available, which can be also used for our purpose. So we need not go and collect um, those data as primary source. Also, most of the people will end up collecting specifically the carbon data, the DBH, height data of trees, and all in different kinds of forests. But I think one of the best ways to get those data is from National Forest Inventory 2016. Foresters and forest officials, they have tried their best to collect all the tree and biodiversity information, and also even the carbon stock information from the forest. Try to go to the National Forest Inventory data and get some information from there. So referring those kind of governmental or non-governmental organizations data or publications is a very important source for our research. The next type is earlier research carried out by previous researchers, which may also be helpful to your objective. So most of the research will end up in recommendations or way forward. That's something that you can catch up and start your research with. Again, earlier research can provide very deep insights over the research that you want to carry out. Personal records, specifically, people maintain personal diaries. They just jot down their personal observation from the field. from the situation, from the phenomenon. So those kind of diaries or personal records can be used as secondary data. And again, there are pros and cons of using personal records. So we will looking at in detail in next slide. Again, mass media this time these days, like newspaper, magazine, e-newspaper, um, again, e-magazine, and information on internet are quite huge in numbers. So you can also use mass media as a potential source for data. So these are four major groups of sources for secondary data. Again, like I said, there are pros and cons of using secondary data. So let us look at the problems related to secondary data or secondary source as a method of data collection. Um, so I'm saying again and again, secondary sources, obtaining information from secondary sources is also one of the methods for collection of data. Um, Again, there are problems related to using this method of data collection from secondary source. First one is validity and reliability. Um, so it's very important for you to look at those information that's being published in a very reliable sources. For example, if you need an updated list of sensitive information, then it's very important we go to National Census and Population Survey data. There you can find reliable data, which is again valid. Instead of going to some personal information, personally collected data. If you need a very updated data of climate of Bhutan, then it's better for us to go to the website or go to the publications of NCHM instead of going to some other international organizations publications and records. So it's very important for us to visit those reliable sources. So validity and reliability is again something, if you do not take care of it, may result in wrong information. So please take care of that one. Again, personal bias. So this really happens when we are looking at sources of data from personal diaries or newspapers or magazine. This happens quite often because these are the information that's being abstracted from personal view of those people who has jotted down their personal diaries. Those editor or news reporters which who has published those newspapers and magazines. So whatever information they have published, they are based on their personal views. So maybe personally biased for us to rely on this personally collected information. And third one is availability of data. Never underestimate or never or see that whatever data that's being available as a secondary source may be available very easily for us. So it's this kind of assumption is quite dangerous for us because most of the data that we need may not be available, especially if you are a beginner. It's common for the beginners to assume that the record data may be available in these kind of websites, in these publications of certain organizations. So make sure that the data that is being required is available before you proceed further with your study. The last one that is quite problematic for the researcher is the format that's being available in the secondary sources. Sometimes the format that's being available in secondary sources is different, like as we need, and the conversion of this format to the format that we require is quite difficult. So, for example, we need age in categories 23 to 33, 34 to 48, and so on. But in our secondary source, sometimes age may be categorized as 21 to 24, 25 to 29, and so on. And conversion of these kind of age categories to the age categories that we need may be quite difficult and maybe quite biased if you are converting from our own view. So these are few of many problems that are being associated with secondary sources. So thank you so much.